David Beckham has finally received the honor that millions around the world always believed he deserved, a knighthood from King Charles III. On a bright November morning at Windsor Castle in 2025, the football legend officially became Sir David Beckham, marking one of the most emotional and iconic moments in British sporting history. After years of speculation, anticipation, and endless public calls for recognition, the moment finally arrived. Dressed immaculately in a gray three-piece morning suit designed by his wife, Victoria Beckham, David stepped forward to kneel before His Majesty, King Charles III. The king placed the ceremonial sword gently on his shoulder, uttered the traditional words, and just like that, Beckham was no longer just a football legend, he was now a knight of the realm. For Beckham, this was more than a personal achievement. It was the culmination of decades of hard work, discipline, and resilience, both on and off the field. Speaking shortly after the ceremony, an emotional Beckham called it the proudest moment of my life. He said, "For a boy from East London to stand here in front of His Majesty and receive this honor, it's truly beyond anything I could have ever imagined." And when you think about it, his words carry enormous weight. David Beckham's journey is the stuff of modern fairy tales. Born in Leytonstone, East London, to working-class parents Ted and Sandra, young David grew up obsessed with football. His father, a kitchen fitter and an avid Manchester United fan, passed on that love to his son. Beckham used to spend hours practicing free kicks on local pitches, dreaming that one day he'd play at Old Trafford. That dream came true in 1992 when he made his debut for Manchester United. What followed was a career that defined an era. Beckham became a cornerstone of Sir Alex Ferguson's legendary squad, the Class of '92, alongside icons like Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, and the Neville brothers. With his trademark bending free kicks, pinpoint passes, and tireless energy, Beckham helped United dominate English football. He won 6 Premier League titles, 2 FA Cups, and of course, the unforgettable 1999 UEFA Champions League, completing the famous treble, a feat no English club had ever achieved before. It was moments like that which etched his name permanently into football history. But Beckham's influence went far beyond football. He became a global cultural phenomenon, blending athletic prowess with celebrity charisma in a way no player before him ever had. His marriage to Victoria Adams, better known as Posh Spice from the Spice Girls, in 1999 turned them into one of the most famous couples on the planet. Posh and Becks became a household name, symbols of late 90s glamour, success, and British pride. Through the years, Beckham's image evolved, from the young footballer with blonde highlights to the mature global ambassador. He became the face of numerous brands, fashion houses, and humanitarian campaigns. His tattoos, his hairstyles, his style choices, they all made headlines. Yet behind the glitz and the glamour, Beckham's work ethic never changed, even when the spotlight burned hottest, especially after the infamous 1998 World Cup red card against Argentina that saw him vilified across England. Beckham never crumbled. Instead, he turns that moment into motivation, rebuilding his reputation through pure perseverance. By 2001, he was England's captain, and by 2002, he had led his country to the World Cup once again, redeeming himself with that unforgettable free kick against Greece that sent England to the tournament. Over time, Beckham became much more than just an athlete. His career took him across the world, from Manchester United to Real Madrid, where he joined the famous Galacticos, to LA Galaxy, where he helped popularize football in the United States, to AC Milan, and finally Paris Saint-Germain, where he ended his career with class, donating his final salary to a children's charity. And it's that last part, his devotion to charity, that likely sealed his knighthood. Beckham's philanthropic efforts span decades. He has served as a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador since 2005, focusing on children's welfare, education, and health. In 2015, he launched the Seven Fund, named after his iconic jersey number, to protect vulnerable children around the world. Whether it's funding education programs in Indonesia, tackling child malnutrition in Africa, or helping provide clean water in remote areas, Beckham's influence has extended far beyond the pitch. During the Windsor Castle ceremony, Beckham's family was front and center. Victoria Beckham stood proudly beside him, looking elegant in a custom ivory outfit. His parents Ted and Sandra were there too, visibly emotional as they watched their son finally receive the honor they'd dreamed of since his Manchester United days. Beckham's children, Brooklyn, Romeo, Cruz, and Harper, also shared their love online. Romeo posted a heartfelt message calling his father the ultimate role model, while Harper, the youngest, simply wrote, "So proud of you, Daddy," with a heart emoji. However, it didn't go unnoticed that Brooklyn Beckham, the eldest son of the family, was reportedly absent from the ceremony, fueling mild social media speculation. Some tabloids hinted at ongoing family tension, though neither David nor Victoria commented publicly on it. Beckham, ever composed, focused on gratitude. He said, "This is our family's achievement as much as mine. Every step I've taken, I've done with them by my side." The ceremony itself was steeped in tradition. Held inside the grand vestibule of Windsor Castle, King Charles personally presented the insignia of Knight Bachelor. The king was said to have shared a warm exchange with Beckham, expressing his admiration for his decades of service, not only to football, but to British culture as a whole. Beckham later joked that his suit was inspired by the king himself, saying, "He's the most elegantly dressed man I know." Media across the world exploded with the news. Headlines declared, "Arise, Sir David Beckham," and social media went into overdrive. Fans from every corner of the world, from Manchester to Miami, Madrid to Mumbai, celebrated the moment. Football icons like Gary Neville, Rio Ferdinand, and even Cristiano Ronaldo congratulated him. Former managers, including Sir Alex Ferguson, were reported to have sent their personal congratulations, acknowledging Beckham's growth not just as a player, but as a man who's become a true ambassador for the game. For years, the public had wondered why Beckham hadn't already received this honor. After all, he had received his OBE, Order of the British Empire, from Queen Elizabeth II back in 2003, more than 20 years ago. Some believed tax controversies at the time had delayed it, while others thought it was simply a matter of timing. But now, in 2025, the stars have finally aligned, and Beckham's knighthood feels perfectly earned and perfectly timed. It's also symbolic of the king's own approach to honors, recognizing figures who embody British excellence, global influence, and service to the community. Beckham, with his perfect balance of celebrity and sincerity, fits that bill exactly. Today, Beckham is more than a retired footballer. He's an entrepreneur, fashion icon, and co-owner of Inter Miami FC, the Major League Soccer club that famously signed Lionel Messi in 2023. His involvement in football continues, but his legacy now extends into leadership, mentorship, and social impact. The knighthood not only crowns his achievements, but also positions him as one of Britain's most respected public figures. His journey from the boy from Leytonstone to the man who would forever be known as Sir David Beckham is nothing short of extraordinary. And as Beckham knelt before King Charles, the emotion was evident. His eyes welled up, his posture humble yet proud. It was as if the weight of 30 years of hard work had culminated in that single moment. As he rose, the king smiled warmly, and the room erupted in applause. It was a moment that will be remembered not only by football fans, but by anyone who has followed his story from the beginning. For Beckham, this knighthood isn't the end of his journey. It's the beginning of a new chapter. As Sir David Beckham, he now carries the legacy of a man who transcended his sport, inspired millions, and used his platform to make the world a better place. And as he left Windsor Castle, hand in hand with Victoria, smiling for the cameras, there was an unmistakable sense of fulfillment, a fairy tale ending to one of Britain's most remarkable success stories. The boy from Leytonstone had become the man who would forever be known as Sir David Beckham. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.